The Appalachian Mountains hide centuries of secrets, and some things that walk those woods were never meant to be seen. Story 1. The Whistler in the Hollow. I didn't believe in the stories until I heard the whistling. The Appalachians swallow sound. That's the first thing you notice when you hike deep into the folds of those ancient hills. The way the trees mute everything, turning even your own breath into something distant. I'd come out here alone, stupidly confident, chasing the kind of silence you can only find miles from civilization. I should have listened to the old man at the trailhead. "Hollow's got a voice after dark," he'd muttered, squinting at me through his cigarette smoke. His fingers, knotted with arthritis, tapped the map spread over his truck hood. "You hear it, boy. You walk the other way." I laughed it off. Just another backwoods ghost story. But on my third night, as I crouched by the fire, skin prickling with sweat despite the mountain chill, I heard it. 3 notes, clear, sharp, inhumanly perfect, ringing through the dark like a blade through silk. It wasn't an animal. Nothing with lungs could hold a tone that clean. I stood slowly, my boots sinking into the mud. The firelight didn't reach far, and beyond it, the trees formed a black wall. The whistling came again, closer now, and my stomach lurched. It wasn't a tune, just those same 3 notes, ascending. High, low, high. "Hello?" My voice cracked. Silence. Then, crunch. Something moving through the underbrush. Not the cautious steps of a deer. This was heavy. Deliberate. I grabbed my pack, my fingers brushing the knife strapped to the side. The fire spat as wind gusted through the hollow, and in the flicker, I saw it. A shape, man-tall but wrong, all stretched limbs and hunched shoulders, standing just beyond the light. The whistling started again, right behind me. I ran. Branches lashed my face as I crashed through the brush, my breath sawing in my throat. My compass was still in my pack, but the trees all looked the same in the dark, and the hollow's slopes twisted back on themselves like a living thing. The whistling followed, bouncing off the rocks, always the same 3 notes. Never closer, never farther. An hour in, my legs gave out. I collapsed against a fallen log, ears straining. Quiet. Maybe I'd lost it. Then a whisper, inches from my ear. "Found you." I spun, swinging the knife. Empty air. But my hand came back wet. The blade was dripping. Black fluid glistened in the moonlight. No blood smells like that. Rot and copper and something sweet, like spoiled fruit. The whistling resumed, shrill now, frantic. I stumbled backward, and the ground vanished beneath me. I fell into the creek bed hard enough to knock the wind out of me. Cold water soaked through my clothes as I dragged myself up, spitting mud. Above, the whistling cut off. That was worse. Moonlight bled through the canopy, illuminating the creek's bank. Handprints, dozens of them, pressed into the mud, all too large, all missing the pinky finger. I didn't sleep that night. At dawn, I followed the creek downstream, my head throbbing. When I finally stumbled onto a dirt road, a sheriff's deputy found me, shaking, my lips cracked from whispering prayers. "You're lucky," he said, leaning against his cruiser. "Most folks who vanish in that hollow don't come back." I stared at him. "Most?" He hesitated, then opened his trunk. Inside, a mud-caked backpack, not mine, and a waterlogged journal. The last entry, dated 2 weeks ago, read, "The Whistler walks on 4 legs at night." The deputy shut the trunk. "Go home, son." But sometimes, when the wind dies just right, I still hear those 3 notes, and I wonder if whatever's in that hollow is still hunting. Story 2. The old man at the trailhead spat a stream of brown tobacco juice into the dust. "Lot of folks get turned around up there on Black Rock Ridge. Ain't a place for a fella on his own." I just grinned, hoisting my pack. I was a seasoned hiker. His backwoods caution was just local color. "I'll be fine. Just 2 nights." His eyes, milky with cataracts, didn't quite focus on me. "It ain't the getting lost you gotta worry on," he muttered. "It's the things that find ya. The ridge don't like to be looked at. It likes to do the lookin'." I dismissed him with a wave and plunged into the green cathedral of the Appalachians. The silence was immediate and profound, broken only by the crunch of my boots and the distant cry of a hawk. By afternoon, I'd reached the base of Black Rock Ridge. The trail became a faint scar on the mountainside, the trees gnarled and ancient. That's when I first heard it. Not an animal sound. Not the wind. It was a voice, but all wrong. A distorted, echoing whisper that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was just on the edge of understanding, a sibilant rush that sounded like, "This way!" I froze, heart hammering. "Hello?" My own voice was swallowed by the dense foliage. Nothing. The forest was preternaturally still. No birds, no insects, just a waiting silence. I told myself it was a trick of the wind, a auditory hallucination born of isolation. I pushed on, setting up camp in a small clearing as dusk bled into a starless, moonless night. The darkness under the canopy was absolute. The sounds began after midnight. Something was moving out there, not walking, dragging. A heavy, lethargic scrape against the forest floor, circling my tent. I lay rigid in my sleeping bag, a cold sweat beating on my forehead. I held my breath, straining to hear. The scraping stopped right outside the thin nylon wall. Then, the whisper again, right by my ear, as if someone was crouched beside my head. "Mine." I didn't sleep. At first light, I scrambled out, ready to run all the way back to my car. But my compass was spinning lazily, uselessly. My phone was dead, though it had been fully charged. Panic, cold and sharp, began to set in. I decided to bushwhack downhill, following a creek I'd seen on the map. That's when I found it. A single brand new hiking boot, sitting neatly on a mossy log. It was Josh's boot, my brother, who'd vanished on this same ridge 3 years ago. Search and rescue never found a trace. A choked sob escaped me. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. From the trees behind me came a sound I will never forget. It was a perfect imitation of Josh's voice, the way he laughed when we were kids. It was a happy, carefree sound that curdled into something wet and broken, choking on itself before cutting off abruptly. Then the dragging started again, faster this time, crashing through the undergrowth toward me. I ran. I didn't look back. Branches tore at my clothes and face. I fell, scrambled up, and ran again, driven by a primal terror. I burst out onto a fire road, collapsing in the gravel, heaving. A beat-up pickup truck rattled to a stop beside me. It was the old man from the trailhead. He didn't look surprised. He just stared down at me with those cloudy eyes, filled with a weary, ancient dread. "Told ya," he said, his voice flat. "The ridge likes to do the lookin'. And it remembers what it sees." He gestured with his chin back the way I'd come. "It's still got part of him. Now it's seen you too." As the truck carried me away, I looked back into those endless, hungry woods. And for a moment, deep in the shadows, I saw 2 pale figures standing side by side. One was Josh. The other was something wearing his skin, its head tilted at an impossible angle. It raised a hand, not in farewell, but in patient invitation. It's waiting. It knows I have to go back. It's got part of me now, too. Story 3. The old man at the trailhead smelled of wood smoke and damp earth. He looked me over, his gaze lingering on my expensive pack and trekking poles. "Just you?" he rasped, his voice like stones grinding together. I nodded. "Just me. Doing a 3-day loop." He spat a brown stream of tobacco juice near my boot. "Rule out here is simple," he said, not unkindly. "Don't follow no voices 'cept the ones you can see." He tapped his temple. These hills, they play tricks. Keep your eyes open. I thanked him and headed in. The first day was beautiful. The trail was a green tunnel, the air thick with the scent of pine and decay. That night, I made camp by a rushing creek. Just as the last light bled from the sky, I heard it. A whistle. 2 short notes, then 1 long one. A common signal between hikers. I whistled back, cupping my hands around my mouth. Silence. I figured they were too far off. The next day, I found the carabiner, clipped to a low-hanging branch, a bright orange dot in the endless green. It was a good one, a black diamond. No hiker would just leave it. It felt wrong, abandoned. I left it there. That evening, the whistling started again, closer this time. 2 short, 1 long. I froze, spoon halfway to my mouth. It was my exact whistle pattern from the night before. A cold sweat prickled my neck. I didn't answer. A few minutes later it came again, from a different direction. It sounded expectant. Then, a new sound cut through the dark. The soft, gut-wrenching sound of a child crying. It was faint, carried on the breeze, but unmistakable. My heart hammered. Every instinct screamed to go, to help. But the old man's words echoed in my head. Don't follow no voices except the ones you can see. The crying got louder, more desperate, moving along the ridge above my camp. It was a lure. I knew it in my bones. I killed my headlamp, doused my small fire, and huddled in the blackness, listening as the sobbing and the whistling traded calls back and forth in the oppressive dark. They were coordinating. I didn't sleep. I just waited for the sun. At the first hint of gray, I packed in a panic, fumbling with straps and buckles, never taking my eyes off the tree line. I ran the 10 miles back to the trailhead, not stopping, not looking back. The silence that morning was the most terrifying sound of all. It was heavy, watchful. The silence out here is a lie. It's just waiting to be filled.